It's amazing, you know, when I first started out, and like well, I shouldn't say when I first started. I started to play songs or learn songs, other people's songs, right? Cover songs, whatever. And again, hey, this could have only been me. I'm not saying that all you goes through this, but oh, hi, Jerry. I hope you're feeling better. Um, I, I'm not saying everybody goes through this because I've always admitted that, like, I never had any past musical training at all or education. I knew nothing. I didn't know anything about notes, keys, chords. I knew, okay? So, the thing, hi, Jeff. So, a lot of times, you know, like I've always admitted that there's probably things that I felt were really, really difficult, confusing, complex, mind boggling, whatever word you want to put in there, that others in my same boat, you started at 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, and you too, it doesn't make, or it didn't make sense, but, oh, how are you? Hope all's well over in Ireland. Um, it makes sense to me, but it probably didn't to you either, but you probably caught on faster than me. I think I was probably, back at my journey, I think I was probably, I think I was probably way more, now I don't mean this word in a derogatory, but retarded, meaning I was so behind. Like I actually know people that started around the time I did. And then I didn't see them play for a while. Oh, hey, for Leo from Brazil. Welcome. Another Brazil. Beautiful. Wow. I'm trying to avoid playing any cover songs right now. I hope you understand because I'd like to maybe have this stay up. And the problem with it's not only YouTube, but a problem nowadays is when you play for entertainment or whatever, you get copyrighted and then you can't leave the video up. If you don't take it down, it just disappears within 24 hours. So I'm trying not to play any covers. If you do want to see covers, I do come on here sometime and just play songs. And I always put it in the tagline, just playing some songs. And I also play on Twitch and on a place called Ellie. And I will advertise those when I redo my page. I will put a thing on when I go and play. So I hope you understand that. Okay. So, anyways, as I was saying, I do recognize that I was probably way, way dimmer when it came to learning this. And part of that was, or a big part of that was confidence. Because I had that I could never be a musician or a guitar player. So once you have that in your head, it's hard to get rid of that. And so my journey was quite difficult. And that's the whole point of this, is that yay, Brazil! The merch is on the way to Brazil. Yeah. So I do acknowledge that, everybody's going to be different. Everybody is different. And as I was saying before, I knew some people, or one person I know that started when I did, around the same time. And I didn't see this person for a while, ran into them. He had mutual sort of friend circles, and we would show up, we would both be in the same place one time. And I remember seeing him play and thinking to myself, holy jumping. I mean, this guy's only been playing for like a year, 6. And I was sitting there thinking, like, he's better than me, right? Because that's what we do. We're human, right? That's what we do. We often say, hey, us musicians, we're here to have one big happy family. But no, no, that's not been my experience. Your friendship circle, yes, but other musicians, not so much. I find that you get a lot of help when the other person clearly sees and knows that you're of no threat to them and that you are clearly their subordinate. Yeah, they throw out nidbits and tidbits and stuff to little bits of information to help you along, but they don't bend over backwards to help. And I found out that again on a different level when I got to the point where I was able to go out and play gigs, where I was able to go out. I had a little repertoire of songs, and I could go out, and I had written a couple songs of my own, and I was starting to get little opportunities to play at a coffee shop or a little bar somewhere or a little restaurant somewhere. Then it became like nobody is going to help you because I guess it's obvious reasons, right? Like you're never going to get anyone. I used to think, if I ran into another person that does what I do, they might say to me, hey, Ray, listen, I got a gig coming up. Why don't you come down and play open for me for 20 minutes or whatever? And I'll give you 50, things like that. No, that has never happens. Okay. So, everybody's journey is different. Everybody goes about it in a different way. But again, what I want you people, and I know you already a lot of you have been following me know this, what you got to understand, and it's so important, and it's the one thing that I never understood because I had nobody to tell me this, okay, is everybody's journey is different. Everybody plays the guitar for different reasons. So if you look at some of the comments that come up in my live shows, right? You're going to get people say, hey, man, play some Metallica. Hey, can you play some folk? Hey, can you play some classical? Play some whatever. Okay, I'm just, making an example. And you can see there's so many, play electric, play Nirvana, there's so many diverse interests out there, right? And it's just like, how would you say it? When you don't know, right? You think you got to know everything. And you think you got to know all this intricate stuff. Because why? Because you're doing what you're doing now. What I did. You go to YouTube, right? YouTube wasn't my first go-to when I started out. It was these books that you buy in the guitar shops, and they have a CD in the back or a DVD sometimes. And for whatever, $15 or $20, you get kind of like a basic. Now I think a lot of these guys give them away. They call them ebooks or something. But you get a basic chord guide, and you get some general ideas of what's happening, and then they get a DVD, and it's kind of like this. It's might be a picture of someone like me who's strumming away. Now, this is how you strum a C chord, right? To the G chord, to the D, right? And it's a lot of that, okay? Then I got into the YouTube thing after. But what I've found or know was, of course, when you don't know any better, you watch someone and you think that you have to be and do what they do. Okay, I guess that's what I got to do. So someone told me, you got to learn all your chords. I said, okay. So I got a chord chart, and there was A major, A minor, A sus, A diminished, A sus4, A sus2, A diminished, augmented that, A7, A add 9, A9, blah, blah, blah. There was all these A's. And I spent weeks and weeks trying to learn and memorize all these A chords because I didn't know. They only needed one, maybe two, throw in A minor, right? A major, A minor, away you go, off to the race. I didn't know that. I thought, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff. And then I looked ahead to the B and the C, and there was so many more. And I like, oh my God, there's like thousands of chords. But what I didn't know is that what I didn't know is you don't need, you never, these are, I mean, these could be used in jazz, these could be used in classical music, but they are chords. But I'm never going to need them, but I didn't know that. So I had to waste all this time trying to learn all these chords, right? And the same thing, we want to play scales. There's so many scales out there, right? So, you just never know. You don't know what you need. And that's part of when you're starting out, that's part of the issue is funnel down to what you need. What do you want to do? Okay, I want some of my favorite songs I hear on the radio. Okay, let's figure that one out. So, all you really need to do is find out those in those songs of the songs that you want to play and learn those words. So, I didn't know that, right? So again, everybody's journey is different. And some people just all they want to do is play open chords, play songs that I know. Everybody's happy. Other people, well, you might want to be a professional musician. You might be young enough to dedicate your life after your first 10,000 hours to master. You might want to go on to play in bands. You want to be a studio musician. You want to be whatever, touring hired gun. Okay, you are going to need a different skill set than someone like me or someone like many of you out there who just wants to play at a local coffee shop a few songs, or someone that just wants to play at their next home party, kitchen party, right? So the skill set is different. The experience level is going to be different. You don't need to know all these techniques. So that's why, to start off, just get going, right? Pick out 2 or 3 chords, learn them, and start strumming them. Get comfortable. Bits of rhythm, right? Now, as you're doing this, learn about strumming. Go watch a strumming video. Okay, what is strumming? What's down up? What does that mean when I go down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down? Like, what does that mean, right? Nobody told me what that meant. I didn't know that that was a combination of quarter notes and eighth notes. And the reason there's down, up, or one ands is to take all that math out of my head. I don't have to worry about listening to the song and going, okay, I should play, real fast here, or I should play and let that ring out, that chord ring out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Like, the strumming pattern does that for you. I didn't know that. Okay, so basically, in case you don't know, I'm not giving lessons per se. I have a channel that caters to beginners, to intermediates, and it's really about, like you see in many places, it's philosophies, how I practice, how I got where I am now, tips, hacks, tricks, all that kind of stuff. That's what this is all about, right? I'm not here to entertain, and I'm not really an official guitar lesson. I'm just a guy like most of you here, okay? Maybe a little more experienced than some, and not as experienced as some of you here. But, I'm just sort of come on once in a while, and we talk about guitars, we talk about learning, we talk about tips and all that kind of stuff. And right now, the big thing is, where am I? I'm in Canada. I'm close to Toronto. So again, when you don't know anything and you're starting out, it's a good thing, because you don't kind of get overwhelmed. You don't know what you don't know what you know, if you know what I mean, okay? But what you really need is you need someone, or the ability, if you might already have it, if you've played other instruments or you have a music past, to zero in on what you want to do with your guitar, okay? Hey, Mark from Newfoundland. Hey, cool stuff. All right. Nice country out there. You want someone to sort of set you on the path, and then you go from there, okay? So for me, we have another Irish dude. Yeah, I think I got a message from you, Derry, just recently. You responded, I think, to one of the videos in the last week or two. That that looks a little. But welcome from rainy Ireland. I don't know. A lot of rain here this year, but and I guess southern states are getting hammered now with rain. But so the first thing to save a lot of time, and that was the whole point of this ramble, was to save a lot of time. It's good if you have an idea what you want to do when you first want to pick up a guitar, or the first thought you get when you go to the store and think, I'm going to buy a guitar today, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. So right away you should be saying, why? What do I want to do with that guitar? Right? Oh, great. Welcome. And feel free to help out whenever you think I'm missing something, right? Hey, cool, Derry. Yeah, I know I've seen you pop up here and there. So thank you for your ongoing. I'm hoping it's helping, and I'm glad to be a part of your journey. For me, I didn't know any of that. So for the first 2 years, right, I was seeing these people that, especially this one person that started with, and I thought, man, this guy is a lot better than me. Like, how did this happen? Like, what am I doing wrong? Well, you know what it was? Later on, I found out, after seeing him maybe a year later or a little after that, he's still at the same level, playing the same chords in the same 3 or 4 songs. So what it was he basically took the 3 chords that he first learned, played them over and over and over again. Right? And he played the same 4 songs everywhere he went. And for me, it was kind of a light bulb thing. I'm like, yeah, right? Because you know what? When you don't know any better and you watch this guy play, you're thinking, oh, he's been playing guitar 20 years. But he hasn't. But that's all he knows. Meanwhile, I took the approach of, let's learn everything before I start playing songs. I tell you, that was not the right approach to take. So for anybody out there right now that's wondering, you're just starting, you're in the first few months, you're trying to figure things out, look, make sure you find out what you want to play. Rock, indie, grunge, electric, acoustic, bass, whatever it is, whatever style it is, whatever genre it is, okay? And then basically say, look, use the internet, use YouTube to say, okay, what do I need to learn? What chords do I need to learn to play, Coldplay songs, okay? And there's so many search engines now that specialize in songs and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's like, okay. Yeah, exactly, because that was your interest. That was your interest. You realized that you wanted to learn, whether it's Metallica, Nirvana, or whoever, right? Foo Fighters. They're a bit of everything. And power chords. They also use bar and open chords, and scales and stuff. But once you figure out what you want to, the biggest advice is zero in on that. So for example, let's take your example there, okay? So you want to learn Metallica. So the first thing I would do is I'd go to a song in Metallica that I wanted to learn, find out how it's, and you probably saw C5, G5, F5, and what's that? Well, anytime you see a 5 after the letter, it's a power chord. So you would learn your power chords. And I don't know Nirvana or Metallica, say, but I would look and I'd see C5, G5, D5, or whatever. So I would learn those 3 chords, and I would start from there. And that's, now that I've kind of full circle, that's for me the strongest way to start. And those of you who know my story, I quit twice after around a year each time. So there's 2 years wasted on all these weird chords. Scales, I didn't even know how to play. I couldn't even play the scales. I didn't know the technique involved. They hurt my hands. I couldn't get my pinky over there. I had a hell of a time playing scales. And then when I did get to the point where I could maybe, I'm like, great, but what do I do now? Like, what do I do with these scales? I didn't know the notes. I didn't know anything. I was just learning these patterns up and down. Oh, okay, great. I never used it. And I learned all kinds of these scales, like scales that I can't even pronounce, Mixolydian mode of this scale and that scale. I was learning it all, but I didn't know, and I've never used it since. But I wasted time. I wasted months. Each time I went off onto a foray that I didn't need, I wasted months, okay? And it was the third time back, I said, I'm going to take that approach that other guy did. And I said, okay, I know 3 chords. And I just played those 3 chords. They happened to be C, G, and D, okay? But I also knew A, E, and D, and I played those a lot too. And I just kept repeating it. I wasn't playing songs. I was just playing chord progressions. Right? And then it didn't take me long because I had a little foundation. Within a couple of weeks, I was playing them quite proficiently and switching around backwards, forwards. Then, right away, as soon as I could do those 3 chords, right? This is before I learned songs. I started turning my attention to this hand and started to find out about strumming and things like that, strumming patterns. Now, all of a sudden, this, right? Because that's kind of what we do at the beginning, just pretty much downstrokes, right? Our chords. That turned into right? Now I can hear that, hey, it's not a song, it sounds more musical, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it, Mark. I mean, right? And then I could do that. Then I started Googling songs. What chords do I know? So songs that start with A. I didn't know that it was the key of A or key of D or key of E. I didn't know what I was playing. Songs that start, I'm going to search and songs that start with an A major chord. And I got all these songs. Did the same with C major and G major, and I got all these songs. And the reason you do that, right, is because, which I found out, it was when you don't know how something works and you're alone and you have nobody to ask, tap on the shoulder and go, hey, does this look right to you? When you don't have that, you don't know if you're doing something right or wrong because you have nothing to. But when you learn how to play with your 3 chords that you know, a song you actually know, you've heard it on the radio 9,000 times, you know when you're right or wrong, okay? All of a sudden, I'm playing these 3 chords, and I'm playing a song, which I'm not going to do here for copyright reasons, but I'm playing a song, and in my head, I know whether I'm right or wrong, so I can correct myself. But when I was just doing things like chords and scales, I didn't know. Or just playing random chords. Here, play this chord progression. Okay. Okay. Now what? And is that right? Is it supposed to sound that way? How's it supposed to sound? Am I doing it right? I don't know. If you take a song that is in that chord progression that you know, then, hey, yeah, that sounds like the song. Or, oh no, that doesn't sound right. I shouldn't go to that chord there. I should have gone to this chord. You have something, okay? So that's so important. Bye, Jeff. So that's so important, right? That's why it's always good to learn through a song that you know. Now, if you have somebody who's an accomplished guitar player that sits with you every day and plays with you, well, you know, because they're going to show you and stop you and say, no, hey, see how you did that? Do this way instead, and it'll sound like that, and it'll sound better, right? But when you don't have that, you're best to use songs that you know so that you can sort of correct and guide yourself, right? Okay. No, not really, Randy. We're good. I've only been at it I'm trying to avoid playing a commercial song so I don't get copyrighted, but we're talking about, you know, just getting going and your journey and how it's different from the guy next to you. So we back up. I told you a story about a guy that started the same time as me. And I thought he was really good, much better than me after a few months. And I was starting to, oh, what is this? I can't do this. I don't know how to do it. Well, it turns out that, I playing him, and it was the same thing. He never got any better. And he was just doing the same thing. So you got to watch for that too. So basically he got caught in a 3-chord rut, and he only knew how to play songs that had those 3 chords in them. And he never went any further, and he never got any better. And then I saw him maybe years later, and he came up to me and said, "Oh my God, we started together. Look at you. Me, I only play 6 songs. I don't know how to play anymore. And look at you." So I realized that he had the right idea, but he didn't take it. He didn't proceed out of the starting blocks. He had the right idea to start, but let's say he got to the quarter-mile pole, and then he just kept doing what he was doing. And he should have, what I tell everybody here to do, is you just start simple, 3 chords, get your strumming down, and play songs with those 3 chords. It's so important. You've got to make music eventually, not right away. And once you do that, right, now you got to add a 4th chord and a 5th chord and a 6th chord. Then you've got to start thinking about how else I can play that chord. So now, okay, I'm playing my A like this. All of a sudden, I'm playing my A with a bar. Well, why am I doing that? Well, that's because now, as my skills, I have the ability to pick out individual notes, either within that chord or around that chord, right? And by barring it, not only am I making it easier to play that chord, but I'm also leaving my other fingers, important fingers, open to do other things, right? So let me give you an example. On YouTube, we'll be all YouTubers, so let's talk YouTube. So on YouTube, there's always that guy, there's probably a couple of them, that comes up and says, if you download this, right, you will be shredding the fretboard in. So, of course, when I didn't know any better, I got to know that. So, boom, what is this all about? And it's an exercise, okay? And it's basically this. Or it might be, see, I still can't do it. So I tried it, and I'm like, okay, what's this? What am I doing here? And it was some weird thing. And as you go down the strings, you put her in each fret, okay? And what happened was, when I did it, it didn't sound good. And it was hard. Of course it is. Everything is hard, not only on guitar. When you first do something, it's hard. And it sounds like garbage, or it looks like garbage, or whatever it is you're trying to do. And I didn't stick with it, because in my mind, I thought, well, why would I bother doing this? I'm never going to be able to do that, okay? So now here I am years later. Now, for some of you, it could be months later, but here I am years later, right? And now I'm hampered because I can't use key to play scales. I use it, I'm getting better at it, but I had to go back and relearn. And now I go, oh, I get it. The technique that was being shown to me was really like a practice thing that says, look, this is the kind of thing you're going to need in order to shred the fretboard later on. But because it wasn't explained to me that way for whatever reason, or I didn't pick up on it for whatever reason, it just became an exercise that, quite frankly, I had no business doing as an early learning guitar player that didn't know anything. And it was just too difficult. Nice. Yeah, Mark, exactly. Well, that's the whole idea. I've done videos, and we've talked about this in live, that when you're playing with other guitar players, you don't play the same thing. You don't step, but I'll get back to your point. I just want to finish this. So what happened was I stopped doing that. And then years later, fast forward, I'm like, I should have kept doing that. So I have a few videos about things that, and I don't do many of them because I remember how boring and uninspiring they were when I watch these videos from people, and was that whole crossover thing at the border, right? Remember the border in between the bronze strings and the silver strings? It's the way the guitar is tuned. And so, for example, here, say C, F, right? And we work our way down, all the way down. So the C is always under the G, the F is always under the C, right? The B flat is always under the F, and it's always that way everywhere on the guitar. So if I have a C here, I don't even have to look. C, that's going to be an F. It's just the way it is, always. Except when you cross that border, when you go from the silver string, so in other words, when you're from the bronze to the silver. So in other words, if this is a C and a D, and I want to play C, D, or an F, sorry, C, D, F, G, little riff, something like a little thing, right? So I go, okay, I want to play it here now. So I go, oh, wait a minute. Okay, it's got to be here. It doesn't sound right, because when you cross from the bronze to the silver, the way the guitar is tuned, you got to move up 1 fret, up 1 fret, sharp 1 fret. So what happens is C, D, G up here in the gold strings becomes gold C, but when I go down, I got to move over. So that same riff is here. So it forces you to go sideways, right? One over, like a little shuffle. So what I did is I posted a video saying, hey, this isn't musical per se, right? You might get a riff out of it once you get fast enough, but this is about get to moving across that border. And you don't know it now, but it's going to be very, very handy moving forward. Okay? And now I know why, because I couldn't live without it. Because even when you're playing, not so much the pentatonics, most scales are 2 frets apart. You only have to worry about, you usually use these 2 fingers and you go 2 frets apart. But then you get into the scale, and the major scale has half steps, right? So now you're into that same thing. You're into the moving over, and some of it is 2, and then some of it is like you're just doing a little side shuffle, and it just really became handy. So I've been very good. Like, it's helped me years down the road when I used to sit there for hours, not making music, just doing this, just doing. And trying to make little things, and just getting used to sliding over that 1 fret. So this was the analogy of when I used to watch these videos of these guys doing, I think it's called the slider or something, when they go, I don't do it. I can't do it. I've never practiced it, but I should have. So it was a kind of a mistake I made, right? Because I didn't know to look ahead. One day, Ray, you're going to want to play like that. So you got to kind of have a little open mind. You got to have confidence in yourself that you're going to get there one day. But I didn't. So anyways, and back to your point, Mark, about, yeah, so when you're playing with other guitar players, which is, I'm preparing a video now that'll be released in a couple days, and this is one of the subjects in it. And playing with other guitar players, you do. Well, when I started, it was a disaster. I couldn't play with anybody else. The minute someone tried to play with me, I would stop. I would freeze like a deer in the headlight, okay? I was intimidated. I was scared. I thought I was going to be as being terrible, which I was, on and on and on and on, right? I just stopped. So I would be playing, right? And someone like Mark would be sitting there, and he would go and play a little while I'm playing, and I would be like, and I would stop dead. Sometimes I'd make an excuse, sometimes whatever, but I would just stop because I didn't know what to do, and it sounded weird. I've only ever played on my own. I didn't know what that, it bothered me, okay? But again, if you look at any of you starting out, first little while, and you're wondering about things, watch a band, a multiple guitar band. Someone with 2, 3, or even 4 guitars in it. what you're going to notice is one guitar player might be playing like the chords, because when we learn how to play, you watch other guitar players, right? So I'd go to gigs and bars or whatever, and I'd watch the guitar player, and he's going, okay, I get it. He's playing a G, a C, oh, an A minor. Yeah, I get it. Oh, that's an F. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's playing his F this way. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I know what he's playing. But then I'd look at the other guy, okay? And he'd be playing whatever, right? Some semblance of bar chords. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know those are bar chords. Okay, so, okay, I get it. All right, yeah, I'm on board. Then I'd look at the third guy, okay? Now he's here doing something. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? Like, I was completely lost and scratching my head. Well, this guy is he's playing triads of the same chord. So now you got one guitar player playing open, you got one guitar player playing, and you got another guitar player playing triads. They're all the same chords, but they're all going to have slightly different and sometimes quite different voicings within, but they're still the same chords, so they're going to sound good together. It's a layer of sound that you can't replicate with one person. And then you might get another guy, who's playing the power chords, those C5, D5s, or anything with a 5, right? But they're all playing the same chord progression. Well, I didn't know that when I was starting out, and that used to freak me out. When I saw it, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I thought you're supposed to play your chords up here, because I didn't know. I thought all the rest of the guitar, when I started, was just for this. That's what I thought it was. So you can play little riffs and lead and do that whole Eddie Van Halen thing. I had no idea, again, because I had no one to tell me, that you could play up the neck. And then the first foray, of course, was when I started to investigate playing chords up the neck. The first thing I got was, take your open chord and move it up the neck, dummy. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Okay, but that was my first foray. And for those of you that may wonder what I meant, it's simple. There are open chords that we can play up the neck. Now, what that means is you play the shape the way you play it in the open position, the first 3 frets. You just slide it up. Wow. But, you got to remember that not all chords move as good as some, better than others, is what I mean, okay? And also, times you have to play certain strings, okay? So now you're getting into, in a way, like we talked about earlier, you might be actually triad. And a simple example of triads, I don't want to get into right now because I'm going to have that posted on a series I'm doing in the fall for advanced people that will have some good slope of what triads are and some examples and shapes that you can learn. But basically, it's just a philosophy of playing chords. You're playing the first, the third, and the fifth note of the chord. Now, for those of you that don't know theory, don't lose any sleep on this, because this is something that you just do not need to sit around and play your favorite songs at a party, campfire, whatever. You don't need triads, okay? But if you do want to be an accomplished guitar player, a well-rounded guitar player, a more versatile guitar on the road, absolutely. Triads are where it's at. It's just another weapon in your bag. For you golfers out there, you don't go to a golf course with 1 iron and a putter. You got a driver, and you got a 3-wood, and you got a 9-iron, and you got a 6-iron, and you got a 3-iron, and you got a wedge, and you got all these different tools that you need for different things. When you play guitar, you have tools. You have open chords, you have bar chords, you have power chords, you have triads, okay? You have scales. You have things. that you can use. It doesn't mean you have to use them. I know people that go to golf, play golf with 3 clubs or 4 clubs. They don't need the whole 12 bag or whatever it is. They don't want them. They don't have to have them because nobody cares. We don't care. We're not trying to win a tournament. We're just going to have some fun. Right? So, you know, that's the thing, right? When you just don't know what you need to know. And you don't need to know as a beginner. So you try to learn everything, and that's the problem. That's why so many people quit guitar very soon, because they don't know what they're learning. They don't know why they're learning it. A lot of the stuff that you're learning as a beginner, you really shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be, and this is my opinion and experience, and I think it's shared by others, is that there are just certain things you are not ready to do because you don't. Okay, so when I learned the F major bar chord, right? We all know that one. Oh, it's a bitch. Right? Very intimate play, very hard to play. Okay. I made the mistake of turning 3 chapters ahead when they talked about this bar chord, and it freaked me out because there's no way I could do it, because when I did it, I thought, okay, I got to put this straight, all right? It has to replicate the nut. So I'm like, okay, I got to put this finger here, and then I got to come all the way over here, and then I got to do it at lightning speed and 5, 6, 10 times a song. No way I can do this. I got intimidated, and I never touched anything to do with F for a long time. As soon as I saw F in a song that I wanted to learn, I'm out. Okay? Well, what I didn't realize, you need technique. You need dexterity in your fingers. And it's like anything we do. We go to the gym to weightlift. The first week or 2, we can't move because we're so sore because we're not used to it. Well, it's the same thing, right? So I realized that I needed to really get your elbow in here, tuck it in. So that changed wrist position, your fingers. So all of a sudden my fingers are pointing up instead of on an angle. When you play open chords, you tend to play more of like on an angle. Your elbows sometimes come out, okay? But when you play bar chords, you got to have it in so that your fingers are, right? They're like on a rail up and down, and you don't feel as much pain. Well, I didn't know that. So I'm just giving you this as an example. I didn't know. So, yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, and that's what, okay, so okay, so, and that what, Randy, applies to any concept and technique on the guitar when you're learning it. So, in other words, scales. All right? Okay, so you learn like everybody does. You got your A minor pentatonic. See my pinky that often? Whatever. Okay? Let's take that for an example. Okay. So you take all this time and you learn the shape and what it looks like in the notes. Most of us don't know the notes we're playing. We're going 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. We don't know. Now, I could be doing this. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. You really should be learning the notes in the scale. Penta, 5. Okay? A minor, pentatonic. Right? You got your A, you got your C, and on. D, E, G. Right? A, C, D, E, G. That's it. 5 notes. Okay? Not 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, because I can apply that all over the fretboard, which is great, but I don't know what those notes are. I don't know what key I'm in. Okay? So you kind of... So, you know, you gotta know the notes. You know things. You gotta know that you don't have to play all the notes. You can only play, maybe you're only gonna play these 4 notes. That's all you need in the song. So, you want to play along in open chords, you want to play along with me, well, great. You don't have to play the whole A minor pentatonic in order, the way we learn it, right? Which is 1 octave, 5 notes. Then we play another octave, that's 10 notes. There's 2 notes at the bottom that are the same, the A, C, the bottom of the guitar, the top end of the scale. And then we come back and we play it 2 more times. So we just played it 4 times. So if we go like this, if we do that, I just played it 4 times and 2 extra notes top end of the scale, right? You don't have to do that. Very rarely do I do that when I play along to someone with someone else or to a backing track song I like. I might just play, I might just do that, right? Or I might go down another, right? Or I might, if I'm at this end, then I might slide over to the what they call the second position and come back. I might only play the whole song. I might only use those 6 notes at that end of the guitar. So you don't always have to play it the whole thing all the time. And I didn't know that, right? So again, these are things that, yeah, so Jerry, just so you know, I mean, you can learn whatever you need to learn for whatever music you want to play. But in my opinion, the minor pentatonic scale, I look at it, I don't know if Jeff's still here, I look at it as the all-purpose flower of scales, okay? Meaning that you can play the minor pentatonic scale almost with everything, right? Okay, now remember, when I say about playing, I'm not talking about trying to sound note for note like your favorite Pink Floyd song. That has never been an interest to me. It is to some of you, and that's fantastic. If you're trying to do that, then you need to play the same scale as the guitar and hit the same notes at the exact same time in the song, etc., etc., etc. And cool. But that's not, again, that's what I thought you had to do when you played guitar. I didn't realize I could freelance it and just play whatever I wanted, right? As long as I'm in key and it sounds good to my ears. So again, the best for me as an advice would be the minor pentatonic scale, right? That's the all-purpose flower. You can play that with anybody playing anything, and nobody's going to say, hey, no, we don't, that's not right. Okay? It may not sound as good as maybe you needed to play the blues scale or the Mixolydian mode of a scale or whatever, and that would sound spot on. But your A minor pentatonic, as long as you're in the right key, if you're in the key of A or the G minor or the D minor and you're in that right key, you'll sound just fine. Okay? So that's always the scale. And I think it's the scale that we mostly learn first because, well, in the middle of the guitar, so it's easy, right? And also, it's got a shape that we all can grab right away. There's no half steps, like you're always going 2 apart, except for, of course, across here and at the bottom, but there's always some space in between. It's an easy shape. Okay. So that's the first scale that I highly recommend because it can be played with anything. So you could only know one scale, and it's the minor pentatonic scale, and the patterns in the different keys, right? Even though they're the same, they do change with positions, but first position is all you need right now, meaning you start on the note of the key. That's what first position means. So when you say A minor pentatonic, hey, Ray, play the A minor pentatonic along with this. No problem. First position, by the way, no problem. All that means is your first note is the A minor pentatonic. First note, A, first position, okay? If someone says, Ray, we're going to play the A minor pentatonic, but you got to start in the second position. Okay. For a long time, what I thought that meant was, okay, first position was here. Second position is either move up 2 frets and play the same shape, or really that's what I thought it was just move it up two things, or start where this note ends, this end, which is the C, and then play the same pattern. So, second position? Okay, start here, and then go up 4, and then your same shape. That's not what it means, okay? Second position means that, partly right, yes, you start on the second note of hill. That's why it's called the pentatonic. Now the A scale, A, B, C, but the reason it's called a pentatonic, like there's a reason there's any notes played in order, ascending is a scale. It's just a matter of the name of it. And you name it, it has to be that certain note in that certain position. That's the way it has to be. It has to be played that way. That's why it's called the minor. You can't go, okay, I'm going to play pentatonic and go like this. A, B. No. There's no B in the pentatonic. You got to go A, C. So when you say second position, it means start on the second note of the minor pentatonic, not of the A scale, because E, but of the minor pentatonic. So the second note is, there's A, then it's up to C. Then it goes D, that would be the third, E would be the fourth, and G would be the fifth. So the second position of the tonic, A, in A, would be starting at the second note with C. Now that doesn't mean that you got to go 3 across like the same shape, because what if we do that, we'll have a C sharp, D, we'll be playing a C and a D sharp. There's the right? But D sharp isn't a note in the pentatonic. The next note is a D. So now we're playing 2 frets apart. That's the second position. And then so what we do is we still play the C in order, C, D, E, G, A. Instead of A, C, D, E, G, we start at the C and we go C, D, E, G, and finish on the A. And in order to do that, the pattern is going to be different in the second position. It means, so we start at C, and we go to D. Now we have to play an E. Now you have some choices, so we don't have to be strict about playing the shape, but if you want to be, then your E would be played right here, E. And the next note is a G, so we got to come all the way, there's your 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're still going to have some that are 3 and some that are 4, or 2, however you want to look at it, 2 and 3. They're just going to be in different orders. So instead of being top and the bottom, where you stretch it out, they're going to be not the top, the second one will be the G, okay? Then the next note is the A. There's the A there. Now what do you need? You need a C again. Got to find a C. Well, that's right here. So now our second position pattern looks like this. C, D, E, G, A, C. Note says the first position, but played in a different shape. That's all that means. Right? Major pentatonic is another good one. Absolutely. Right? So remember, when you switch shapes, but stay in the A minor tonic, but you switch positions, okay? You have to switch shape because you have to play the right note, not the right shape, not the same shape. You have to play the same note, not the same shape. And as you switch into the third position and fourth position, all the patterns are different. So for years, I didn't know this. So I'd say, okay, I play that. I know the A minor pentatonic until someone said, oh, play it in the second position. And again, as I just said, that's what I thought they meant was, oh, just move everything up and play the same. No, because now I'm playing different notes. The scale, you have to play the notes of the scale. So it's note over shape. Whatever shape of the note is the shape you play, not whatever note you play in the shape. You know what I mean? Okay. But look, who was it that was with us for a while that was saying, Mark. So Mark says he's a lead guy, a riff guy, a lick guy. Perfect. He would really take advantage. He probably knows all this. His style of playing would dictate that he knows all of his positions, because that's how you cobble together solos. So getting into it too deep, right? This is what I mean by that. So when you see people playing and they're playing along, they're playing a lead, Now, they're usually going so fast that you can't see this, so I'm doing it really slow. So I'm in the A minor pentatonic, and I'm thinking, okay, in fact, let's see if we can get, let me just get a backing track here. All right, so look. All right, so this is a little bit rock and roll, whatever. So I'm going to play the A minor pentatonic scale. In order. Okay. Now, that didn't sound the greatest, but it sounded okay because all the notes worked. Okay? And plus, I'm not playing this pretty high voltage stuff, and I'm not plugged in. I'm just playing acoustically. So what you heard was the note, like it sounded, there was no sourness. I just wasn't playing the notes at the right time for the chords that we're playing. That makes a difference. Okay, but when you really want to hone in, you want to start playing the notes, the 1, 3, and the 5 note within the chord, especially the 1 and the 3. So in other words, if there's an A chord playing, you want to be trying to play the A note and then the third note of the scale, which is C. So you want to be trying to play A and C as often as possible. When the song switches over to the G chord, you want to try, you're still playing the pentatonic, but you want to try to emphasize the G note whenever possible. Okay? These are just little things. If you don't, that's okay. You're going to sound okay. But the guy that you pay the $100 to go and the professionals, they are playing so methodically, like they're picking out to the point where they are playing generally the first, the third, and whatever else of the chord that is playing in the song. That's how intricate it can be. And as you get better, you will do that too. Someone like Mark would know his positions because what happens is you're playing, and I can do this all and sound good. But after a while, it's like I'm painting a photo or I'm painting a picture, but I'm only using 2 colors. So everything I paint is red or blue. So at some point, if I switch positions, right? Let's say I go over here. Now I'm in the top, the hi-hat part of the second position of the A minor pentatonic. So now I can play this. Then back to my pentatonic, my regular first position, and then I can slide over and play the top end of that position and weave them together. And I can jump over to the third position, which would start here, and it would go to, so this is a D, right? One is I would need to find a G, which I would probably play, so if I started here, C, D, there's a G, I could go over here and grab a G here, right? I can weave myself by using all the positions, and that's what they're doing when they go from here to here. They're still in the same scale, they're just playing different positions of the, right? So I didn't want to, again, I don't really want to go too far down a rabbit hole, but this whole thing was about, I kind of got off track, but this whole thing was about your journey being different. You may not never know this. And the beauty is, and the point of this is you don't have to know it. You don't have to know how to do any of this that I just spoke about for 10 minutes. All you have to know at the end of the day is how to play this or that chord and this chord and play them all together. Add different strumming patterns. That's it. That's all you have to know. So with just those 3, right, I can play thousands of songs in all kinds of genres. The major pentatonic is another good one. Now, the major, remember I was saying about the 2 scales that you should know? They're pentatonic because it's the all-purpose scale. It goes with anything. And the major scale, not the major pentatonic, that's a good one. sorry again, the major scale, okay? And if you would just excuse me for 30 seconds, I just have a delivery package. I just got to get it. I'll be right back. Coming. All right, sorry about that. All right. Oh, remember the other important scale to know, the major scale. Not the major pentatonic, though that is a good one, absolutely. The major scale. Now, the reason for that is the nation of music. That is the way, as a guitar player, well, we build everything off of the major scale. I'm going to give you a couple of quick examples as to what I mean. Yeah. Jeff, I've been looking, I don't know, they might have them in, you guys know it as Guitar Center. Up here in Canada, it's called Long and McQuaid. That's our national sort of chain. They had a chair, and it looked pretty cool. I'm going to go back and do more investigations, and it's adjustable. So it looks like a stool. It's got a little back on it, like a little square back with a stem, and a nice padded seat, and like a metal iron frame. And you can adjust it so that you can sit like I am, or you can move it up to be up like on a stool. It has a little footrest that comes out, right? And I think it even had to put a pedal board on. So if you were up on a stool and you wanted to use the pedals, like, you could still reach it. And I believe it's called either chair lock or easy lock chair or something like that. It's expensive. I'm going to say $250. Now, that's probably Canadian. Probably around 200 American. And I'm going to go back and take a look, and sort of tear it apart and see if it's for me. But yeah, I definitely need it. I play standing up if I'm out anywhere, but I don't always either now. I'm getting older, and sometimes it's just so much easier to sit down. Okay? But we're going to do a little thing about standing versus sitting, and how a lot of you have found maybe that it's hard to play when you stand up. It's a whole different ballgame, and there are a few reasons, but we'll get into that another time. So the major scale. Remember, that's how all music is applied. It's made. Okay, so what I mean by that, so the major scale is, you've heard me, I've done a video on it. It's in my library, and I believe it's called How I Learned the Major Scale. But the formula for the major scale is 2-2-1, 2-2-1. So it's like ordering a pizza. 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1. Yeah, can I have a pepperoni? All right. Everyone, no matter where you live, you always have a pizza place that has a phone number that's so recognizable. Like here you have 967-1111, and it's called Pizza. And we have another one, I think it's Pizza Nova, is 439-000-000 Pizza Nova. So it's like 4 zeros. Okay. So the major scale, the 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1, what does that mean? Okay. So let's take any letter, A to G. All right. So G. Okay. So what's the G major scale? Well, to find out, we go 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1. So that means we start on a G note, 2 frets. There's the 2. We have an A, so GA. We go up 2 more, right? 2, 2, 1. So we go up 2 more, and we have a B. So now we have G, A, B, 2, right? So we started on G, went to B for 2, or to A to 2, right? And then the other 2 left us to B. Now the next number is 1, 2, 2, 1, right? So we only go up 1 fret, and there's our C. So now is G, A, B, up 1 to C. And from there we go 2, 2, 2, 1, right? So that's 2, or I'm sorry, C, up 2 is D, up 2 again is E, right? Up 2 again is F sharp, right? Because E doesn't have a sharp, goes to F, and then F sharp, and then up 1, right? So 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, and we go up 1, and there's our G. So again, G, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, and there's our major scale. Okay? So that's the foundation of how everything works. Now let's go to chords, right? Let's go to chords, right? So chords are played the same way. So if someone says, okay, what are the chords C? I never knew what they were. Are you kidding me? How would I know that? Now I can tell you the chords in any key, whether I play them, know how to play them, never played them, play them all the time. It don't matter. They are. Because we follow the major scale. What do I mean by that? All right, let's take C, okay? C chord would be the first chord in C, right? There you go, key of C. All right, first chord is C. What's second chord? The major scale, 2, 2, 1, right? So C, we go up 2, we have a D, or play it here, D. So C, D, E, F, G. We could do it that way. But what we're doing or not doing is we're not separating minor from major. And there's difference, right? So I'm just giving you the, as we go in order. But in the key of C, if you use the major scale, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1 would be C. Then it would be D minor because it's a D, but it's not a 1, 4, or 5. The 1, 4, or 5 in every key is a major. So C is the 1, so it's a C major. D is a 2 chord, so the number 2, right? It's minor. And we go up 2 more, remember, 2, 2, 1. So from D, we go up 2 frets to an E, but it's not an E major because it's a 3 chord. It's an E minor. So now we have C, go up 2 frets, we have a D minor. Go up 2 more to another E, but that's an E minor, right? Now we go up 1, and it's a 4 chord, so it's a major. So there's my F. We go up 2 more is a G, 2 more is an A, but it's a minor because it's not 5. So the chords, without looking at a chart, for the key of C are C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then B diminished. The 7th chord is always some chord of a strange chord. Sometimes it's a sharp, it's a diminished, it's an augmented or suspended, or I usually worry about chords. But anyways, I don't want to get too much into that. I just wanted to let you know that that's one of the of knowing the major scale, because that is how things work in music, right? We number the chords in a key, we number the notes in a chord. So, for example, in a C chord, if you want to know what the notes are, it's the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th, okay? In a C major chord. So what's the first note in a C? Is a C, right? So there's our C, The second note would be a D, right? But we don't need that. We need the third note. That's an E. C, D, E. So the first of the C chord is C and E. Okay? Play it here if you want. So when you play that C chord like that, you're actually fretting the C, you're fretting E, and then down here, right, you're fretting another C. So you're only fretting C, E, and C. When you play the whole chord, you're playing C, E, open G, C, and E. If you put your pinky down, like some people do, you're playing the G again. So you're only playing the same notes, you're stacking them, you're playing them more. So that's why the chords, the open chords, actually sound fuller, thicker, well, better than your triads. Why? Because a tri, you're only playing 3 notes. So when I play a G, a full G open chord, I'm playing G, B, open D, right? G, B, open D. Those are the first, third, and fifth. G fretted, B fretted, open D, open G, there's a G again, open B, there's a B again, right? There's 2 B's, 2 G's. And then down here, if you do not put your pinky down or your ring finger, you're playing an E. And if you do, you're playing another G. That's why open chords, people say what they want about them. They sound better. They always sound fuller, thicker, and juicier than bar chords, power chords, triads. I would say the one exception, if you want to make an argument, is the bar chord can sound pretty good too. It's a slightly different voicing, but it sounds good too. But it's not as good as every open chord we play, right? Every one. We have multiple notes in the chord that we play. So of course, if I played an A and Randy plays an A, right? And everybody plays an A, we're going to sound thick because we're all playing an A together. It's going to sound nice and thick. And that's your open chords anyways. So. So anyways, those are the 2 scales that I would recommend learning first, is the minor pentatonic, and only the first position. Don't worry about everything else. You know, it's good to know, it's good, but you don't need it. Especially in your first. Now, again, there's always people out there that, you don't play guitar unless you know all that. Well, that's not what we're about here. We're not looking to be professional guitarists or professional musicians. We're looking to have some fun on a Friday night, play a few of our favorite songs, impress our friends, play along with our friends. I am too old to be a session musician or a rock star or any of that stuff, and most of the people out here watching and listening are the same way. We just want to have fun with our instruments. So that was the whole point of this show today, was to let you know that everybody's journey is different, okay? And, this guy, I don't know. Okay, Brady, look, we're not at that level as obviously you are. I appreciate your input, but, we're just here to have fun with our guitar and play some of our favorite songs, okay? So, when that's kind of like the instruction I got when I started was, you learn augmented chords, sus chords, man. That's where it's at. Got to play 7th chords. Forget open chords. You got to play 7th chords. I didn't know any better, so I spent weeks and months learning these chords, and never used. I use a D7 once in a while as a turnaround chord. I'll use an A7. You can, I mean, just play a D, just play an A. You know, like, again, at our level, just play a D, just play an A. Okay? And it follows me knows that, yeah, you will play seventh chords one day, and you will understand what a seventh, what a you know, an augmented chord is, or a ninth, you know, an add nine. Understand that, but you don't need to know it day one to go out and have fun with your guitar. Okay? The theory that I put in place, that I recommend, what helped me, okay, again, took me from a 50-year-old person that knew nothing about music to someone who plays gigs and has helped out. I played rhythm guitar on people's recordings. I've, you know, okay. I got all kinds more to learn if and when I want to learn those things, right? And again, my theory is, and what happened and helped me was, I used the simplicity of approach to build up my, what I call, as you know, follow me, my guitar foundation. So that means that even though, okay, I'm only playing open chords, that's it. But as I got better and better playing those open chords, I got what? I got more confidence. Okay? I kind of figured things out. Oh, hey, wait, you know what? I sound pretty good. Now, Ray, we're going to learn chords, or we're going to learn seventh, we're going to learn dominant. What's the dominant? Whatever. I can sit down, okay, and maybe within 15, 20 minutes, maybe one night, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, I'm good to go. Hey, when I learned triads, and I still, even though I know my shape, ring sets and all that, I'm still sloppy playing certain ones because I don't play very often. I rely on certain go-to triads, right? But if someone said to me, hey, Ray, we got a gig, we need you, but you got to play triads, I'm in a position, skill set-wise, that I could sit down and spend whatever amount of time and just power it out and figure it out and do it and be capable at doing it. But I couldn't do it because I didn't know anything about the theory. I didn't have the dexterity or strength in my fingers. I didn't know anything about music. I wasn't feeling it, right? Thanks, Jerry. I'm glad you're feeling better. And don't forget to bring the Vaseline for the mechanic, right? I'll leave you to figure out what I mean. But, so yeah, I mean, look, everybody will have a different thing. We've heard and seen different people jump in with their opinions and their whatever, and that's fantastic. It's for you, okay? We had one fellow knew right away, I want to play power chords, and I'm assuming that would be on an electric guitar, and wanted to do right away. So where someone like me or you or Randy or Jerry or Dermot or whatever wants to play songs with C, D, and G open chords, there's someone else that only wants to play them in triads or in power chords or wants to start off playing bar chords right away. I'm not telling you not to. I'm not telling you it's wrong. All I'm saying is that a lot of these other methods of chord playing require physical attributes, technical attributes, theory attributes, okay? You don't need theory to play guitar and play all your favorite songs. You don't have to know anything, as long as you're willing to let Google tell you what to do. And as long as you're able to find and replicate what Google tells you to do. So if you need a D minor chord, as long as you have the ability to play a D minor, right? You're good to go. But if you want to know what chords are in that song and what notes are in that chord and what chord that song should be going to next without looking at Google, based on theory of chord progressions and what naturally you're going to need theory. So I always tell you guys, your theory or your journey, you're going up, 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 and all is going well, and you're playing songs, and you're sounding like a pro, and everything's good. You're strumming, everybody's happy. But one day, you're going to be walking along, and you're going to come to a gate, a big iron gate, right? And it's locked, and you can't get through to the other side unless you have the key. And the key is music theory or guitar theory. If you don't have it, then you either turn around and leave and take what you've already learned and apply that the rest of your life. Oh, sounds amazing. Oh, a little bit of prime rib would be nice. So would the stuffed duck. What'd you stuff it with? There's so many things you can stuff that with. Sounds amazing. How do I become a roadie for a band and a chance to play rhythm? Well, I don't know if those two go together, but I'm assuming you apply to a band or a maybe concert management company or concert production company. Maybe you get a job as a stagehand setting up for a certain concert hall that has different bands come in, or a sound company where bands rent, which most of them do now. And you work for that company, so you go in and set up the back line or whatever, I don't know. And then you go from there, maybe. I don't know. It's not a job I don't think I would want it. I definitely because of my age, but as a youngster, maybe, sure, you get a chance to travel and all that. It's not something that's overly turned me on, but I would assume you just apply to I think it's a company, to be honest. I don't for the band directly anymore. I think those days might be gone. But, oh, nice. Nice. Apple and mandarin orange. So you don't use anything like a starch? You don't have like some rice or something to kind of add some fill to that? Or is it all strictly just the apple and mandarin? Curiosity. I know sometimes we used to use, stale baguettes and chop them up into little squares, add that in, almost like the whole turkey stuffing approach. Sometimes I used rice. And other times I went the cheese route, goat's cheese or some form of cream cheese, that kind of thing, right? I'm just asking curiosity. But as far as how do you play rhythm guitar? Oh, rice pilaf on the side. Okay, yeah, so it'd be too much rice. Sure, for sure. Got it. Nice. So how do you play rhythm, if that was your question? I don't know if the two are together, but rhythm guitar is simply knowing a few chords and adhering to a rhythm or tempo. Okay? So, for example, a strumming pattern. So learning how to play rhythm is a little bit of everything. I mean, you got to use all parts of your, what I call the guitar foundation. You got to use your left hand and right hand for strumming and for changing, right? You don't want to be thinking about this. And that reminds me, someone commented, I don't think I addressed it, and it was a good one, about thinking about things when you're playing, okay? And I'll get to that in a second. But so you want to get to the point, rhythm guitar, where you know your chords, whether it's bar, open, triad, whatever it is, you know the chord progression, okay? And you develop, again, for your guitar foundation, left hand, right hand will take care of the physical stuff. But then you need to listen, and you need your brain to kind of process where you're going, where you're coming from, what's next, all that kind of stuff, what key you're in, all kinds of things go through your mind. And basically then you need a strumming pattern. Strumming pattern just allows us to mix, usually quarter and eighth note together. Now there, yeah, 16s and there's 32nd notes and all that, but usually on an acoustic guitar, okay, you're switching between playing quarter notes and eighth notes. And in a strumming pattern, the quarter notes are the downs, down, 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 quarter, 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 quarter. So 4 of those makes, right? Four quarters to a whole, right? So you have 4 of these in a bar of music in a 4/4 time signature. Now, the ands, 1 and, 2 and, or the down, up, the ups or the ands are eighth notes, and they're played up in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4 can become 1 and 2 and 3 and, or down, up, down, up, down, up, quarter, 8, quarter, 8, quarter, 8, quarter. So what we're doing is we're taking math, 4 quarters in a whole, splitting those quarters into half. Now there's 8 of them required to make the same whole. And the key is that it takes the same amount of time to play 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, as it does to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the eighth notes, the eights, the down and up, are played in the same time as the 4. And if you want to go further, 16th notes, the 16 are also played the same as the 4. They're just faster. It's basic math, basic geometry, right? So that's rhythm guitar right there. That's all you need. Okay? So if you have a song that has 2 bars of quarter note Ds, then you play 1, 2, 3. Now the beats per minute is different because whether you play 1, 2, 3, 4, it's still 4 quarters a bar of music. They're just slower. That's a beats per minute. Or you play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you're still playing quarter notes. Okay? So quarter, if I was to play a song and it said, okay, it's 2 bars of 4 quarters in the D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. And then it's 2 bars of eighth notes in the G. So that'd be 1, 2, or in the C, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then when I switch to the C, it'd be 1, 2, 3, back to the D. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, right? You're playing this, that's the strumming pattern. That's rhythm. So when you play along to songs, you need the beats per minute to be able to play along. And then if you do that, here's what used to happen to me was I'd be playing, okay, so it's 100 beats per minute. So I'd play along and it would be some, I'm just using it here, but it would be, okay, got it. All right, so I start playing. But wait a minute. I'm always too quick or too late switching to the chord than they are. And I thought it was me, and a lot of times it does take a while to build your internal timing clock. And you'd get from early when you're playing to play to a metronome or a backing track so that you can kind of develop a timing clock, right? But what it was because the song I was trying to play to was in 3/4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3/4 is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So that threw me off. So you got to know the time signature, you got to know the beats per minute, and after that, it's just doing it, brother. Just listening to it, feel it. Okay. All right, so the last point was to answer a question. Someone had said about not thinking, or I try to think about the notes I play or where I play, or can you do or you don't. All right, look, we all have to think about it. The difference is from beginner to pro, the beginners have to stop and think about it, okay? if I'm playing a scale, I might have to, I'm like, oh, all of a sudden I don't hear the drummer, I don't hear the bass player, I don't hear what's going on because all of my concentration is trying to figure out, I got to play those proper notes. Where are they? Okay? That's what practice is for, right? So as you practice and you get better, you're still thinking, but you're thinking like this. Those guys are still thinking, but some of them are thinking 3 bars of music ahead of where they're playing because they're so good that this is on autopilot due to all the practice, repetition, and muscle memory built up. The brain is saying, okay, I know you're only here now, but don't forget, we got to go up here at some point. And I'm already thinking, what am I got? Oh, yeah, I already got to do that. And that just comes from, they're still thinking about it, but it happens so quick and it becomes so intuitive through what? Practice, practice, practice. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Muscle memory, muscle memory, muscle memory. Like they feed off of each other, right? Right? So that's the whole thing is nice. Yeah, Randy, that is so natural. That is sometimes for a lot of people, one of those. It can take forever. And that goes back to what I said about stopping when someone started to play with me. So I'd be playing in a song circle or something, and it's my turn, and I'm doing this, and I'm having a good time, and I'm sounding pretty good. And then someone starts going, right, playing along with me, and I'm like, I'm all distracted and I lose my rhythm and I crash and burn on the beat. Okay? That's so normal. That is just comfort. The only way around that is play either with someone, to a backing track, or a looping pedal. Any of those 3 often as you can. And trust me, at first it'll be sloppy. You'll be playing out of whack with the song, you'll be changing chords too early and thing, or if you're picking it out, you're going to go and pick out the wrong this and too fast or slow, or play the wrong note. But that's what practice is for. Eventually, remember, we're like a computer, right? And remember the guitar foundation. It all works. It's like a drummer. He's doing all these things at the same time. That you don't just sit down and do that. That's practice. Okay. So don't think it's any different. But Randy, I know where you're at because I've seen you and you're there. It's just, if for you, it's just, right? We've talked about it. It's comfort. It's confidence. And the more you focus, think back, any of you people, from the first day you started playing guitar, that first C chord or D chord, you had no idea. They could have dropped a bomb next to you. Okay? You wouldn't have heard it because you're so intense. You're like, oh, I got to get to those chords. They got to sound right, that you don't notice anyone. I use the driving analogy all the time. When I learned to drive, I was staring straight over the middle of the hood at the middle of the center of the road, making sure. And I thought, if I didn't look at that center of the road, left or right. But after a while, you're looking at the people, there's a new restaurant, and you're staying in the center of the road, and you don't even realize you're doing it because everything just gets natural. Wheels. Remember, it's training wheels. You got your training wheels on, you're okay. Right? Your parents holding you in the back, you're okay. But once the training wheels come off, it's the same with this, right? So a lot of us, and I was there for a long time, a lot of us have that ability. We don't want to let training wheels, okay? But once we do, you find out your brain says, okay, bud, all that practice that you did, lefty and righty, you guys are doing good, right? Lefties, I don't even have to look. Right? I can do anything I want with this hand. I don't have to look anymore. Why? Because I've put in, dozens, hundreds, thousands of hours, whatever it may be. I don't have. So what that does is it frees a part of my brain up to go and do something else. So usually it's all 100% RAM right here on the chords. And we just go like this with this hand to give us something to switch to, right? And you're just focused. Then after a while, it's right? After a while, it becomes. So your brain is already saying, okay, I delegate to, because you know what you're doing. Then when you start different, like I used to go like this all the time. G, D, change 2, 3, 4, change 2, 3, 4, change 2, all the time. Very robotic, very whatever you want to call it, choppy, right? But that's all I could focus off. And then after a while, I was able to not worry about this hand. So now I started, okay, so instead of going, why don't we do this? Change, 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 right? Now my strumming's a little better. I don't have to worry about this hand. Then after a while, I don't have to worry about this hand. So now I can think of something else. What key am I in? What chords do I play next? What scale should I break to when, you know, where am I in the song? Like I used to play songs and forget where I was. Is there another verse? Is there another chorus? Oh my, did I already play that verse? Oh, did I already play the bridge? Because I was so tight, focused on things, instead of loosey-goosey, confident, let my brain run the show and tell me what to do. Okay? So that'll just come naturally. Trust me, it'll just come. The more you do it, the more you play. I could never play to backing tracks before. I could never do that. I mean,
have you ever wondered how pro guitarists memorize all those chords?
Don't do
and
this.
then actually play them up
Don't
and
do
down the
this.
neck without any effort?
I don't mean this
well,
person
they don't
or
memorize
ad.
them at all. Walk into any guitar shop and you'll see those books.
Don't fall for that. Don't fall for all that stuff you see on YouTube and everywhere else, okay? At the end of the day, you've got to get yourself to a point. All this stuff is good information. Some of these guys, it's really good stuff when you're ready. Day one isn't the time to be downloading that ebook, and just play your guitar. Learn 2 chords and just get out there and hack around. C. Oh, it sounds terrible, but that's okay, because in a month, it'll sound less terrible. And then in 2 months, a little, and then in 6 months, okay? Then you get confident. Then you're feeling around the guitar. You start getting to feel it. Then you can go to one of these sites and learn about something fancy. Okay? Yes. All right. Yeah, so there's a point there. So I know this is going to sound weird, but I'd only been playing about a year, and I started writing my own songs. Okay? And I didn't know any theory. And I'm just going to give you 2 short examples, good and bad, of not knowing theory. All right. What you're going to find out as you start moving along, chord progressions. Every song is just a progression of chords, okay? Both in the verse, the chorus, the pre-chorus, the bridge, whatever you want to call everything, parts of the song, or it's just one set of chords the whole song. There's plenty like that. Same 4 chords through the whole song. It doesn't matter. They're chord progressions. And one of them might be A minor, C, G, F. A minor, C, G, F. And the whole song over and over is minor, C, G, F. A minor, C, G, F. And that's all it is, and you think, hey, that sounded. So when I started writing songs, right, I would go, okay, where do I want to start? I knew nothing about keys. I just thought, well, I kind of know how to play a G, so I'm going to start G. I was walking down the street, a lot of things going through my mind. I thought, okay, so where should I go from here? So I started going, oh, hey, that sounded good. Oh, listen, G, C. Oh, that sounded really good. Now, where should I go next? So I went, that's okay, right? I went, let's try something else. G, C, let's try E. I don't know if that goes together. Let's try it again. G, C, I don't know if I want to go there. Let's try it again. G, let's try this. Oh, that sounded right. That's kind of, okay. When I was young, I went down and I walked to the dean down inside of let's go back to the G. Okay, I'll cut it there. But my point is that naturally, that sounded right. G, C, D, back to the G and start all over again. I'm on to something here. This is easy. Okay, I got lucky. Or did I? So what I mean by that is that I started in G, and without, I played a G, a C, and a D, and that's the 1-4-5 chord in the key of G. Didn't even know that. People that write with theory, and you should, would sit down and write in G, and I want it to be major. So what's the 4 chord? And they'd look on the chart. Okay, G, oh, C, and D. Well, I did it just because why? My ear told me that it sounded good. Theory. Just like, again, that chord progression. This one here, so common. Now, this song isn't in this key. I just use this to sing because it's better for me. Da 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 da, and I wait for you with or without. We all know that, copyright police, right? So there's a chord progression there. And then I would maybe go to another song, right? And I would and I've got, wait a minute, that's the same chord progression. I just started it on the A minor instead of the C, but it's the chords. And then all of a sudden I'm playing and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's the same force. All right? So if you're into theory, you would know that, oh, yeah, those 4 chords, yeah. You're in the key of C or you're in the key of G. I did it because it sounded right. But my point here is more often than not, when your ear when something sounds right, if you backtrack and check the theory on it, you'll find out that it's the same key. Because songs are written from chords in the same key. Now, there are exceptions. But songs are written from chords from the same key. So if the key of the song is C, then I'll bet you dollars to donuts that the chord progression is something like C, G, A minor, right? Or C, F, G, E minor, right? I mean, you could play any chord in a key in any order and it will sound fine. If you play them in a certain order, song. So if I took any chord in the key of C, played it in any order, sounds fine because that's why they're in the same key. But I didn't know that because I didn't know my theory. I just got lucky because my ear said, hey, go to that chord next because it sounds good. I just got lucky. Or did I, right? Well, you're going to find that, yeah, you should know your theory, but you don't have to write from theory, from what's in here. Write what you hear. You can always fix it later, like I did. Like I wrote a song that basically was in the key of C. But there was a part of it where it went A minor, C, G, right, to the D. A minor, C, G, D. Now, what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with it is it doesn't belong. Because if it's in the key of C, that D would be a D minor. So it would have to go like this. Okay? But because I didn't know that, right? But I thought D sounded right, I just played the D major instead. So that would technically would switch the key of the song to G, right? Because so D would be the major, so it'd be the 5th chord. The C would be still C, because it's the 4th chord, and the 1, 4, 5 are always major chords. So G, D, and C would be major. I had that right. And minor would be a minor. The A would be a minor because it would be in the key of G. It would be the 2nd chord, and that's not a 1, 4, 5, so it's a minor chord. So I just had the wrong key. I thought I was playing in the key of C, G. But at the end of the day, it still sounds good the way I played it. I just had the keys wrong. So if I had to put down on a sheet for someone, oh, here's the song, it's in the key of C, here's the chords, they would have said, hey, Ray, no, that's not right. The D has to be minor. But when you don't know, you don't know. Anyways, so, all right, everybody. We've had enough today. I'm sorry for jumping around a little bit, and I hope that some of you got a little usable advice, right? I do this multiple times a week. Starting in November, we're going to have 2 live lessons a week, one for the beginner end and one for closer to intermediate. We'll cover things like triads and scales and playing in a band and playing with other people. And then the other part will be the basics, people just starting out, right? How to learn in a timely fashion, because you're going to find out, like I did, it's not always what you learn and what you spend your time on. It's what you don't bother spending your time on, what you don't waste your time on. Like I wasted 2 years. I've even had people say to me, hey, Ray, like how good would you be if you didn't waste 2 years piddling around with all that garbage that, I don't know. I'd be, but not, don't get me wrong, I'm a nobody. I'm just like you guys. I'm not a professional anything here, okay? But I lost 2 years because I didn't know what I was supposed to work on. And if I'd have taken those 2 years and just stayed to the way, when I finally did do it this way, just stayed to those, learn 3 chords, then add one at a time, get my strumming down, get the feel, learn how to play guitar, the rhythm, and play along with songs and make the songs sound as close as I can, and build up a natural instinct and feel and rhythm for my instrument and my playing, I'd be so far ahead now. Okay? So part of it is it's not what you do, it's what you do that really, really helps you out. And that's where I can come in. So my name's Ray. I have a channel here, as you guess you know by now. It's new. It's only a year old. We've got pretty good following. And if you think I can help you, please hit subscribe because, again, starting in November, we're going to have all kinds of things that we're going to be doing. And you'll get notified when I go online live. You'll get notified when please go to my library. There's well over 300 videos there. Some interesting things, little hacks like how to avoid playing your dreaded B bar chord, which nobody likes to play. Okay? Or, how to play an F without having to play a bar chord. Little things like that, that really help you when you're starting out. As I said, for at least a year, I avoided playing any song that had F or B in it because I couldn't play the bar chord. My first bar chord I learned was B minor, and it's the only bar chord that I recommend learning as a beginner, because you will need it sooner than later. Favorite songs you Google, you'll see after a while that there's a certain sound in them, and you don't know what that is. Like it's got that eeriness, that it's cool, and it's a B minor, and it's a toughie. But anyways, in my library, I show you the theory behind learning your bar chords, how to learn them if you want to go there, the order that you probably to learn them in if you play classic, rock, general, everyday pop, country. You're only going to need, at the beginning, one bar chord. And I show you, I learned it, how I practice it, show you things like, again, little hacks that you can do on your fretboard, show you different ways to play chords. Some of you might have already noticed that I play my G this way. Some people ask me, well, what chord is that you're playing? I can't follow. Like, what is that? Well, that's a G. You learn your G like this, like I did, and I still play my G like this sometimes. But there was a lot of reasons why it didn't work. I've got small fingers, and I found that, especially this finger, sticking this finger out like that, the underside of that finger would touch some of those strings in the chord, and they would sound dull. Hear that? That's a little exaggerated, but that's what I'm talking about. The chord didn't ring out like that. It's kind of muted because I couldn't get my finger all the way around. And nextly, the biggest reason was GCD is a very, very popular progression. And look what I got to do here. G, C, D. Look at all the movement. G, C, D. I got to move my wrist like this. And every time as a beginner, you change your position. You move your wrists around. Your landing can be, well, off. So you only sound good maybe 4 times out of 10. You land to the D chord, but you miss this, that, because there's too much movement. By playing my G, it's the same. I'm still fretting the same notes. I'm just using the 3 back fingers instead of the first 3 fingers to fret those notes, okay? But the difference is, look, G, C, F, D are all there. I can go through 3 chords, and then my right there, my D minor's right there, F, C, G. And I have hardly any move whatsoever, okay? And of course, the other reason is this finger stays open, right? So there's my G. Now, if I want to put a finger down, or if I want to transition into a bar, it's right there. Just found it easier. Don't worry about it now. But these are little things that I talk about, and along with the whole theory behind learning how to play guitar, especially at an advanced age, like, 40, 50, 60, 70. I hear all the time, hey, I'm 78, just bought my first guitar. Thank you. Makes sense. I get that all the time, right? So, tones, yeah. Open B. Do you mean like an open B tuning? Or the open B chord? There's really no open B chord. There's a B chord right here in what we call the open position, but it's still a bar chord. In my life, I show you how to play the B this way. Okay, I'm not going to get into it now, but there's your B bar chord played in that position. Here's how I play it. I play it instead of the bar. But again, I got a very extensive video about that in my library, so check it out. Yeah, there's a B here, as you know, but that's, again, it's a bar chord, and it's all the way up here. Okay, so if that's what you mean by open B, that is a tough one to play. Oh, sorry. G, I meant sir. So open B while playing G. So meaning like to go to that B, if that's what you mean too. I'm not sure quite what you mean, but yeah, it is a lot easier to transition from the G chord to a bar chord. And as you move along and start looking at songs and analyzing things and getting your theory or just experience level up, you'll realize that G and B minor are played, or G and B are played quite a bit together, or could be played quite a bit together. There are certain chords that always seem to go together, right? D and B minor, so often. That's a very common one. G, B minor, A, right? There's so many, like G, A, and D, and E into some, even A minor. Right? So anyways, that's all in my library. I explain all that. And you'll start noticing that in different keys, certain chords always go together. Like they're always one after the other in many songs. And you're like, wow. Okay, and then as you start studying theory and keys and chords in a key, you'll soon realize why. And there's a reason why there are 10,000 songs in the key of C, or just using C, D, G, for example, a G. Or CFG in the key of C. There's thousands, and there's a reason why. Okay? But you don't have to know that at first. But that's things as you get into it, realizing. And that's when you know that you're starting to understand how the music is working. Right? Well, A7-9. So all you're doing is you're basically playing an A sharp, and you're putting a synth and the ninth into it, right? So, which basically means, so if you got the A scale, you're going past. If it's major, you're going past. You're adding a C, basically, into your A sharp, right? That's the add 9. That's the 9, the 7/9. I mean, that's. But I know why you're doing this. You're trying to see if I about it or whatever. And I mean, again, you probably just joined us here and you're young and to show that you know everything. But we're not about that here. This is a basic guitar group for people that want to start playing a guitar and using open chord part and just learning how to play guitar, play their favorite songs. We're not learning how to be professional musicians, okay? You're funny, rhythmic dude. But yeah, so you know what I mean? A lot of times, so you know, people and yourself, for chords like that, often referred to as either add nines or slash, often just play the letter in the front. So in other words, what I mean by that is if you see something like C/, that's a common one, C/G. And you're thinking, well, what does that mean? A C and then a quick G? No, it means you play a C, okay? And you have a G in the bass. So when you look at your C, okay, what am I fretting here? Well, you're fretting a C, an E, and a C, okay? So then you see, so C, that's right, you're playing a C chord, okay? But then you see/G, you see the slash and the G. What do I got to do? Well, okay, in a way, we're already playing a C/G, bear with me, because when we play the C chord, we're playing an open G string, but it's not in the bass. The bass means low, right? So the G has to be in the bass. The G has to be low. This G, low, because it's here. It's okay, but it's not like a treble. It's the last brown string. So it's still on the bass side of things, but it's not a bass note. Bass note means the lowest, right? The low. So all C/G means, and it depends how you play this, okay? So for simplicity, I'm just going to bring my pinky up and fret that G. Now, some people do it the opposite, so they'll play the G like this. What they're doing is they're playing a regular C chord, but they're adding the G right here, this G, because it's the lowest G into the chord. So it sounds, the Eagles do this a lot of country actually C with G's in the bass, or G's, C's with G's in the bass. So there. Now, remember, we're taught when you play a C chord, you play the 5, but here we're going to play all of them. You hear the deeper, because as I strum through, I'm picking up that bass G, boom, 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 as opposed to, sounds just slightly, look, when you see chords like that, just the first letter. When you see, D/F sharp, it's a D chord, sharp in the bass. So once again, for you theory nerds out there, there's your D. One of the notes that makes up a D chord is an F sharp, and it's played with our big finger right here, 2nd fret of that first string. So to put D sharp in the bass, or F sharp in the bass, I have to look for a lowest note in the chord to be F sharp. Okay? So I do have a couple options here. I could go like this, right? Play right here. That's an F sharp, this note right here. Okay? Strum it like a D chord. It's a little awkward, okay? I won't deny that, but that's because I have small fingers. But once you play this for a bit, you'll build up that hole. So in a way, we could play it like this. There's a D chord, and there's an F in the bass. Bass, lowest note. But generally, this chord, when you see a D/F sharp, it generally means you're going to play this F sharp right here. Now, how do you do that when you're playing a D here? Well, the thumb. Okay? Again, this isn't beginner stuff per se, but I'm just letting you know. So what you would do is you'll see that they wrap their thumb over. Now I got that nice sounding thick, rich D with an F sharp in the bass. Just play a D. Okay? Yeah, that's right. There you go. So you beat me to it, or I beat you to it, or whatever. But you're right, they're fudgy mist. Right? I can't play Wonderwall because I don't want to get copyrighted. I want this to stay up. So I'm not going to play it, but I believe it's capo. Something like this. No, I think it's E minor. It's something like that. But I don't want to play because I want to keep this video up for a while. So, all right. Again, thank you so much. Check out my library. If you think I can help, or you want to support, or you want to say thank you if you've learned anything today, hit the old, wherever you are, subscribe. That's the best way. Comment on any of the videos, or this video, or whatever. That helps too. And that would be much appreciated. Okay? And in return, what you get in return is I post multiple videos a week. Over the last couple of months, because it's summer, we all have other things to do. I've been posting about one full-length video, then I post some little shorts here and there, and I go live at least once, if not twice a week. Now, starting in November, there'll be a structured schedule of the live shows. So it'll be like last winter was every Tuesday p.m. It may or may not be the same this coming winter, but watch for that. You get someone who hopefully can explain things to you. Musician speak, okay? So from non-musician to non-musician, opposed to non-musician listening and musician giving you all the rundown and all the verbal stuff, that diarrhea that comes out, assuming that you know what they're talking about when you really don't. And that's what happened to me. So I wanted to make videos that talk to people in plain language and explain what things are, because I didn't know when I was learning. I didn't know what things meant. So if you don't know what things mean, you can't do them or learn them. That's basically what I'm all about, okay? So I am going to just pick out a few notes here as I say goodbye, based on things we just talked about, like using the minor pentatonic scale. And we'll see you again real soon, okay? Thanks for joining. What do we got here? See, like, use your ear. Like, if I go like this, my ear is telling me that sounds pretty good. Now, I happen to be playing the scale properly right now. But what if I did this? That's different. Is it bad? No, it's just different. Is it right? No, because I'm not playing the proper note of the scale. But it still sounds good. I could do it. So let's... Different, but okay. Right? Now, as you notice, I'm only using basic picking. That's it. Basic fingering, basic picking, basic playing of a basic minor pentatonic in a scale. Nothing fancy. Eventually, you can add things like little hammer-ons and pull-offs. Let that note ring. Let it ring out. Right? Just a little slide. Little slide. You know, little things that can make the most basic things sound not so basic. And you play that for a bit. And then you learn a little technique and you apply that into your playing. And it's just, look, it's just little by little by little by little. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Okay? If you pick up your guitar thinking you're going to be in a band next week and you're going to be playing at Madison Square Gardens in 6 months, I'm sorry. It's not going to happen, no matter who you are. It's the same as saying, okay, I'm going to learn how to play golf. All right, so you take some lessons, you go to the driving range for a few weeks. Does that mean that you're going to now compete against Tiger Woods on the PGA Tour? No. Dedicate their lives to that. But it means you can go out on a weekend with your buddies and play golf and have fun doing it. So why do we think that, oh, I'm going to learn guitar and then 6 months from now I'm going to be a professional? No, you're not. But you can still be pretty good, and you can sit around your kitchen table and impress everybody with the songs you play. Absolutely. 100% you could. So we got to have respect for this. And this is not something that you're going to learn tomorrow. But if you go little by little, you have fun doing it, which inspires you further, which makes you good faster, okay? And it makes you want to practice more, which makes it better sooner. Who knows where you can go at any age, okay? I mean, that's the reality of this, right? So don't expect too much from this. If you could be ahead of the curve, like let's say the learning curve is kind of like this, and you happen to be like that, okay? For example, athletic. Someone could say, hey Ray, this is a tennis racket and this is a ball. You gotta hit it over that net. It's gotta stay in the lines. Okay. Let me have that. Never done it before. First might be a bit weird. Oh, okay, then I'm getting it. Maybe within a few days of practice, I can do that. Okay. But someone else, it might take them 5 months. I just did, because I just maybe have a little better hand-eye coordination. Okay? So, well, the same is going to apply to this. Right? Some people are just more... just have more of a motor skill thing. So they're going to learn the basics faster. But they might get messed up on things like the theory end of it or the sound, or not understand. Oh, I don't understand why I should play that note and I want to play this note. Because they don't feel where someone else who doesn't have the technical skill or the physical ability knows right away, hey, that's not right. You should be playing the other note. The other note sounds like it. Everybody is different, and everybody learns at a different pace, right? All right. All right. Hey, pleasure meeting you there, Rhythmic G Mist. It's one of the most original names I've heard. I've seen a few dandies coming through, but I think you're the first time through here, I believe. And if you are, hey, thanks for joining. I hope you got a little something out of it. You sound like you might know what you're doing. A little bit, I don't know. But just like you already said, keep it simple. It's a marathon, bit by bit. The more you practice, the better you'll get, right? All right, see you later, guys. Michael Douglas, I'll take that. All right, see you, Rhythmic.